Gigaware keyboards will always have a special place in my heart. The Gigaware K28 is my first mechanical keyboard, and my videos of the K28 and K550 carried my channel a lot to what it is now. While the experience I had with those two keyboards are generally pleasant, we can't deny the fact that the two keyboards suffer from issues concerning durability, very evident from the online reviews and feedbacks I get from my videos. But this time, I think Gigaware finally took notice, and with their newest keyboard, they're effectively killing their K28 and K550. This is the Gigaware KG1 Mnemonix, a big improvement from the K28 and K550, but still keeps a very appealing price tag of 1,349 pesos for the full-size version and 1,099 for the TKL. Well, basically it's still a budget keyboard, but it features a more robust build, Otemu Hotswap sockets, but most importantly, it comes with Otemu switches out of the box, which are generally durable switches and a big improvement over the unheard of switches we find on their K28 and K550. We have here the full-size version, and its main difference from the TKL aside from the layout would be its removable magnetic shroud. It also comes with an extra white shroud and 3 extra switches, though they did not include a keycap and switch puller, which is quite a bummer. I hope they will include those in their next copies. They also include keycaps of your color choice for that added customizability. So the keyboard weighs at about 709 grams, measures 42.5 centimeters long, 12.4 centimeters wide, and 3.4 centimeters tall, 4.5 when the flip-out stands are raised. At the bottom, it has 2 rubber paddings here and rubber paddings on the flip-out stands. It has a 2-meter non-detachable braided USB cable and a non-gold-plated USB connector. At the surface, the keyboard looks pretty sleek and premium. The body is not exactly thick, which I like, because thicker bodies would often result in the keyboard sounding more hollow. The entire keyboard has a matte finish which gives it a nice look and feel. I like the removable shroud, but I would prefer it being plain instead of having the Gigaware logo on it. It just gives the keyboard a more stealthier look. Despite being a budget keyboard, the KG1 actually looks great. When it comes to build quality, I'd say this has a more robust build compared to the K28 and K550. It hardly flexes, and I don't see any chipped top plastic anywhere on the keyboard. I think the big improvement here is the metal plate they use for the keyboard. It really helps to have a metal plate reinforcing the keyboard, especially for a layout like this, since going with an all-plastic build will cause the keyboard to flex, resulting it to not lay flat on the desk. The metal plate also gives the keyboard a much better sound profile compared to plastic. It's not very evident if you use blue switches, well, because they're loud and clicky, but this would make more emphasis on the red and black switch variants. I'm using the blue switches by the way on this one, and here's a quick sound test for you guys. Alright, now let's take a look at the switches. Like I mentioned earlier, Gigaware is finally using proper 3-pin Hotswap sockets and Otemu switches rated at 50 million keystrokes. Switch options are blue, red, and black. Now, Otemu switches are still considered budget switches, but they're definitely far better in terms of quality and durability compared to the content switches on the K28 and K550. And this time, I can guarantee that the KG1 would last considerably longer, and it makes it easier to find replacement switches in the future should you decide to mod the keyboard. Aside from Otemu, other compatible switches would be Akko and Glorious Holy Pandas. Now generally 3-pin switches should work on the sockets, but since Otemu sockets are narrower compared to 5-pin KL sockets, you may need to file down the pins if the switch you're trying to put are not from the 3 I mentioned. Keycaps used are double-shot ABS keycaps. They are pretty alright. Legends are readable and doesn't look obnoxious. And I like that they include an extra set of colored keycaps for that added customizability. Now, do keep in mind that this is still a budget keyboard, so it's not surprising that they'd use ABS keycaps. What's good is that they're using double-shot molding, which ensures that the legends don't fade over time. Replacing the keycaps are not an issue since the keyboard uses a standard ANSI 104 layout, so any 104 keycap set would work. The keyboard also comes with its software, which you can use to customize its lighting effects, create macros, and set custom profiles. The keyboard also has an onboard memory, so you don't really need to have the software running to use the macros you saved. What I find annoying is that NKRO is not enabled by default, and it doesn't save when I enable it. I have to keep enabling it each time I turn on the computer by pressing FN plus scroll lock. Alright, so everything I've said so far about the KG1 Mnemonix is generally good. The overall experience I got from it is great and definitely far better than any cheap keyboards I've tried so far. But let's be realistic. For a budget keyboard this good, corners have to be cut and it's going to be on the stabilizers and the lighting. Let's start with the stabilizers. So the keyboard uses a standard plate-mounted stabilizer for the spacebar and non-conventional plunger-style stabilizers for the shift, enter, and backspace. Now, these plunger-style stabilizers are common on budget keyboards cause there's virtually no cost to produce them as they're often part of the mold. While plunger-style stabilizers don't suffer from the usual wire rattle you get from standard stabilizers, the problem with them is that keys don't press down evenly as opposed to using standard ones. So what does this tell us? If you plan to mod the stabilizers, you're only limited to the spacebar. You can probably add some lube on the plungers, but that's about it. Now for the lighting, the keyboard is not exactly an RGB keyboard. The lights are fixed per row as you can see in the video. Well, they're not really bad, and they're bright enough for me to recognize the legends even in a dark room. There are different light effects available through the software that you can choose from, but that's about it. Here's how they look. To conclude, the Gigaware KG1 Mnemonix is a great value mechanical keyboard. I highly recommend this to anyone who wants to try a mechanical keyboard for the first time but lacks the budget for a mainstream keyboard. Also, if you're looking for an inexpensive mechanical keyboard that'll last long, this is definitely something you may want to consider. The keyboard just offers so much for its price. A very robust build, options for customizing, and switches that'll definitely last long. Definitely worthy to be called a bang for the buck. By the way, Gigaware is giving away Lazada and Shopee discount vouchers for those who want to buy the KG1. Note that the vouchers only apply for the red switches and are only limited to the first 500 units of their full-sized and TKL keyboards. Vouchers are active until February 28, 2022. Links and more information are in the video description. And also, to celebrate our second year on YouTube, I am giving away my copy of the Gigaware KG1 Mnemonix and some other peripherals in our Christmas/New Year's giveaway. Check out the pinned comment for the instructions on how to join, and good luck. That's it for this video. Like, dislike, comment down if you have questions or anything to say. Get subscribed so you don't miss out on my next uploads, and as always, thanks for watching and see you guys soon.